know by the chat. All right, let's see if we're live. We'll see if comments start coming in. Okay, I do see some comments. Are we live? Chat, let me know. Are me and Andy live? We better check both of our channels. We're trying some new software here. Yep,
Nobody
we are
actually
live.
knows.
We're actually live.
Yeah,
looks like it. I'm live on my end. Are you live on your end?
I think so.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we got comment sections rolling in. Here we go. Welcome, everybody.
Yours is, I don't have any comments. Nobody likes me.
Oh, go to your studio. Like if you pull your studio open and like it should show your chat there. You should have people rolling in.
I don't know, man.
Look at go. You got to click comments on the top right. Do you see that?
Oh shit.
There's your chat.
Holy God.
Yeah. Okay.
What?
Guys, again, these are theirs is just old. We're two old dudes trying out new software for the first time with no studio help at all. So I think we're good. I think we did it. All right, so let's get this thing started. Obviously, I'll give a introduction to myself, to Andy's channel. I'm Nate, Valhalla VFT, retired Green Beret. If you know me, you probably already know Andy, but I mean, I'll let Andy introduce himself to my channel as well. I bet you already know him, but feel free.
Yes, I've been featured many times for stupid comments and things that I say without thinking. Totally through them. Allegedly a former Navy SEAL a long time ago, though, and doing my best to get away from that.
Yeah. One professional act at a time, right?
Yeah.
All right. So, guys, our initial plan for this episode 4 hours ago was to talk about the U.S. bases being struck and obviously potential escalation and regime change. However, apparently there's peace in the Middle East now. So we're going to talk about some different stuff. So, Andy, what's your feeling on we went from war escalating out of control to peace in the Middle East in 4 hours?
Has there ever really been peace in the Middle East? I was talking, my middle son was asking me about this. He is getting ready to turn 20. You know, he's talking about, what are my thoughts on Iran and Israel and Palestine and all of this. And he actually asked me, how long has fighting been going on in that region? And I had to think about it. I think human beings have been fighting each other since the inception of human beings. So I don't think we're ever going to see like peace in the grander scale. I think it might calm down a little bit. I don't know, man. I try not to be a conspiracy theorist, right? So I try to keep myself inside of reality. Right. I can see a world, and I'm not saying this is the case, and this is what the conversation I was having with my kids. I could see a world where in the actions that were taken by Israel and recently by the US, we actually gave Iran the out that they were looking for, because they can sign a ceasefire without actually surrendering, right? You know what I mean? And it gives them the ability to enter into that without actually looking, what I'll say, as weak, which they probably don't want to look like. So we might have actually given them the out that maybe behind the scenes they were already talking with people about anyway.
Yeah, well, it's actually a great point. And if that's the case, that's going to make Trump an actual 4D fucking chess peace master. And it's going to make me look dumb for, being like, why the fuck are we doing this? This is dumb as shit, right? Like, and we're going to talk about, like, guys, we're going to talk about what the
I'm not saying that's what happened. I'm saying that's,
right,
I'll put that on the charcuterie plate of what might be possible. That's up there with like,
yeah, we're going to talk about the strategic victory behind this a little bit later, guys. But first, what we want to do is, JD Vance just came on Fox News to announce this about 30 minutes ago. So we're going to pull up a video. We're going to watch JD Vance, see what he has to say about this. Again, I don't think me or Andy have watched this.
No,
watched this yet, Andy. So yeah, if you want to, is it up? Here we go. I'll go ahead and
you ready?
Go ahead and
here we go.
Yep, let's play it.
What happened with Ron?
Oh. Uh-oh. I lost Andy, I think. Are you guys there? Uh-oh. Did we lose Andy? Uh-oh. Let me know, guys. Is Andy still in the?
I'm here. I can hear you.
Okay. We're lagging. Okay, play.
All right.
Sorry.
Play.
Ceasefire. Complete and total ceasefire is what he typed.
Now we're good.
What does that mean? How did it come about? What's the development
Yeah.
here?
Well, we were actually working on that just as I left the White House to come over here. So that's good news that the president was able to get that across the finish line. I think what it means, Brett, is quite simple. First of all, the president, without, knock on wood, having a single American casualty, obliterated the Iranian nuclear program. We are now in a place where we weren't a week ago. A week ago, Iran was very close to having a nuclear weapon. Now, Iran is incapable of building a nuclear weapon with the equipment they have because we destroyed it. So that's a very, very big thing. Now, what that means, I think, is we have to talk to Iran and, of course, to Israel about what the future holds. Because while we have obliterated the Iranian nuclear program, our hope and our expectation is that they're not going to try to rebuild that program. And I think that's what the president is really trying to figure out here, is to build a long-term settlement here to where we can have peace in the region, where our regional allies and, of course, the American people, most importantly, can be secured, but where we can ensure that the destruction of the Iranian nuclear program that has already happened is not something they try to rebuild.
I want to get to the obliterated part in just a minute, but I just want to read this fully so I get the context here. Congratulations to everyone. It has been fully agreed by and between Israel and Iran that there will be a complete and total ceasefire in approximately 6 hours from now, when Israel and Iran have wound down and completed their in-progress final missions for 12 hours, at which point, the ceasefire for 12 hours, at which point the war will be considered ended. Officially, Iran will start the ceasefire, and upon the 12th hour, Israel will start the ceasefire, and upon the 24th hour, an official end to the 12-day war will be saluted by the world. During each ceasefire, the other side will remain peaceful and respectful on the assumption that everything works as it should, which it will. I would like to congratulate both countries, Israel and Iran, on having the stamina, courage, and intelligence to end what should be called the 12-day war. This is a war that could have gone on for years and destroyed the entire Middle East.
All right, let's pause that.
Never will. God bless Israel. God bless Iran.
I have a few notes.
Yeah, I got some notes too. Hey, all right, before we do that, I got a bunch of super chats. Andy, so when you get your super chats too, go ahead and we'll stop, pause, make sure we hit them real quick. Then we'll jump into our notes, talk about.
I know what you're talking about. What in the fuck is the super chat?
Super chats. Look at your chat. If you've got donations, we're going to read those. All right.
Oh,
all right.
Okay. Yeah.
So, yeah, I'll do mine real quick. Then you do yours, and we get right back to what we were doing. Right. Walter Everson, $2. No hot tub. I'm disappointed. Hey, there's maybe when I head out to get on Andy's podcast, we'll do a hot tub. Probably not though.
I still have nightmares about that. Everybody thinks I knew that was happening. 100% ambushed with that.
Yeah. Leonard, $2. I found more bush apple and there was a ceasefire. Yeah, it was quick. Element, $20. Thank you, brother. Very generous. Fuck, marry, kill. Tim Kennedy, Ben Shapiro, Tucker Carlson. Okay. Well, that's it. Well, I would marry Tucker Carlson because I actually like him. Killing either Ben Shapiro or Tim Kennedy. That's a toss up. I would probably kill Tim Kennedy. Then no. What do I do here? Fuck Ben Shapiro, then kill myself, probably is what I would do on that. What do you think, Andy?
I mean, I didn't know where you were going to go with that, but it ended strong. I think that ended the only way that you could actually do that. Wow.
Okay. All right. Joe Saunders, $5. Last time there was peace in the Middle East, I heard there was a flood. Yeah, I know, right? And then Dan Not the Lions Den, $20. Nate, Andy, I think that's a salute. Thanks, brother. But as we all look outside the chessboard, it's just a fucking chessboard. Yeah, we're going to talk about that. And then Dano Not the Lines in $2. Small Delta PPs lead the way. Maybe. All right, Andy, if you got any on your end,
there's some up here. You guys
send
are
them.
wild. All right. It says, Andy, I hope you apologize. Oh, this is from Luxon. Andy, I hope you apologize to your father now since he can't operate chat. No, I'm not apologizing to him for shit. He's 76. The IRGC CUDS is still going to support jihad all across the Middle East. Yeah, I mean, that's probably not going to change. Andy, but as well, look outside. Yeah, it's a chessboard. It's a fucking chessboard. Same thing. Agree. Holy cow, there's a lot of these. What in the
Yeah, it's going to happen, man. This is going to be half of what we do here. So just get them,
out
of the way.
Fuck, marry, kill, Tim Kennedy, bench. I mean, I can't answer better than you, so I'm going with you on that.
Sure. Same answer. Yep.
Yeah, that's wild. All right.
And for some caveat, people are like, "Oh, why didn't you kill Tim Kennedy?" Well, if I got to fuck one, it's not going to be Tim. It's going to be Ben because he's the most effeminate and the closest to a female. And then I'm going to blow my own brains out afterwards. So that was my thought process.
To hold down. Let me tell you.
Yeah. I feel like that.
Wearing clothing.
I feel like
he's a tough one to hold down.
I end up getting fucked in that one, so I'm not risking it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
right.
You know what they say? If one man can hold you down, two can rape you.
I'm pretty sure Tim could just rape me by himself. I don't think he needs any help. So we're not even going to chance that, guys.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Okay. All right. I got some flying in now already too.
I think we both hit on the same thing. Where is this proof we destroyed the nuclear weapon? And here's the thing.
Yeah.
I know they're not going to provide the intel that they have, even though it would answer so many questions for people and it would shut down a lot of the conversation because, there's sensitivities around that. They don't have to give the means or the ways that they got it. But I would really like to see some concrete information of actually where they were, what triggered this particular strike, and how do you know so quickly that you vaporized their nuclear weapon? Didn't he use the term weapon?
Yep.
I have, yeah.
That might have been a Freudian slip a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. That was, I don't know. I'm probably like you, Andy. When I very first heard the news and then Donald Trump's tweet, which said we completely and utterly destroyed. What's the big one called? Brain fart. Fordo.
The facility. It starts with an F.
Fordo. Yeah, Fordo. We completely and utterly demolished Fordo. Fordo is like 400 feet underground, and you knew immediately that you destroyed the entire underground facility after like an hour of dropping those bombs. That's a stretch to me. How is Mossad that good that they're literally like there and down in the bunker? I don't know. So. And I don't know if Andy, did you just mention about the trucks coming in and out, and most likely all of that was removed? Like
we were talking about
prior.
that.
I know we talked about that.
We were kind of messing with the software. There's some in OSINT, so open source intelligence or reporting for people who are not familiar with the term, that there was satellite imagery and pretty well known that the hypothesis is that they were potentially moving enriched uranium out of the facility. I'm not so sure how quickly that you can move a large amount because we're talking about centrifuges. And let me step in real fast here. I'm not a fucking scientist by any stretch. I don't know
neither am I.
From what I have heard from people who understand this is that it can be moved, but the process isn't incredibly fast. But I have heard that there was activity along those lines. And again, that kind of goes back to a little bit of the opening of how much of this are we seeing play out in real time, but things are actually being communicated behind the scenes. I don't know. I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but I do leave a realm of possibility open for those type of things in my mind. I mean, if I was Iran or if you were in charge of Iran and you knew that those were your sites, what would be your most likely thing that you would do? Harden them, bury them underground, and if you thought an attack was coming, you do your best to move them. I mean, that seems plausible.
Sorry, Munchkin just showed up. Oh, you guys! Oh shit, they can't see Munchkin. Munchkin showed up. Sorry, Andy.
What's up?
Quick pause for the channel mascot. Yeah, and that's another thing. For us that have, worked. I don't want to say behind the scenes, but privy to classified information when we go and do missions like this, there can be so much stuff that we don't learn as the public that maybe Donald Trump, maybe the administration knows that we don't know. But I got to agree with you on that. Like if I'm Iran and Israel has literally just schwacked all of my top generals, they've schwacked all of my scientists, and they tell me they're going to blow up my nuclear facilities, I'm probably not just going to be like, well, let's wait and see what happens. And so if that's the
unless
case,
you follow them, right? You're like, hey, let's let them move some of this stuff to see where they take it. I mean, again, I leave all of those realms of possibility open. So I don't know.
And we do things like that, strategically. All right, real quick, I got to hit some super chats before this spirals out of control. Chat's out of control. We're already getting near 2,500 live viewers on this end, so this episode is going to be a good one. Gus Fang, $5. Maybe Trump reached out to Iran first. Terms agreed. Once agreed, they spoke to Israel. Maybe. I don't know if we would do it that way. Grizzly Burn, $2. Booms seen near Camp Taji. Yeah, we're going to talk about bombs still being dropped here in a second. Jacob O'Donnell, $10. They keep saying bombed. Are we sure they didn't just send Tim Kennedy? Well, it says bomb, not grenade drops. So probably
I haven't seen him today, though. The coalition asset may be deployed.
No, you didn't see his whiteboard, his 18 Fox and Intel whiteboard he's got up that he was streaming.
I actually did see that.
He was he was explaining to the world the Iran conflict, right? I didn't know he was an 18 Fox, but now I know. And then Ahmed Khan, $10, awesome collaboration. Yeah, me and Andy have been friends and talked for quite a while. We just haven't, got it together. But I figured, you know what? Well, really, guys, what the idea was, I really wanted to talk about like what regime change looks like. And I was like, I want somebody with real experience in changing regimes. Let me get Andy on here. And then I don't know if we're going to. We're still going to talk about that while I got you here, though. But I want to talk about Andy. Oh, if you got any super chats, let's hit them right now.
I think we're getting the same ones. Yeah. So the awesome collaboration was on there. I got the one about Tim. I did see a dope meme. It was
fucking Andy. Go to your studio. Not hear what we're looking at. Your studio that we were at. I know.
Bastard. Where in the studio do I go?
Your chat. So your studio. You click the live broadcast.
Yeah.
And your chat will be on the right side.
I don't see.
I guess we're working through it.
I don't even see it. I'm only using the one that's in the StreamYard.
All right. Well, maybe not. I don't know what's going on. You know what? Let me do this. Actually, I know how to do this. I know how to check. Again, guys.
If you haven't figured it out, we are figuring it out in real time.
I see them over on your channel. Yeah, you got a bunch of them. Okay. Maybe. All right, we got to figure this out.
My phone number so they can just text me questions?
God damn it! I just lost audio because I pulled yours up. I'm gonna have to relog real quick.
Yeah.
All right, stand by.
I'm gonna give people your phone number so they can just text you questions. You guys ready to get a pencil out? I'll give you guys Nate's number. You guys can just hit him up direct. I think that's probably the best.
All right, so
I just gave me your phone number so they could just text you questions directly.
Oh, great. Thanks. So, God, I wish we could figure this out. I don't want you to miss I saw like 10 of them over there on your channel when I looked at it.
Where are you seeing that? You are out of your goddamn mind.
So another way you can do it, Andy, and again, sorry guys, working through software.
Yeah, we're idiots.
Another way you can do it, if you have your phone or a second computer, just pull your actual Cleared Hot podcast channel up and you'll see your own live stream there. And then you'll have your super chat.
That would make sense why I was seeing your chat.
Yeah. It's not supposed to do that. It's supposed to show your comments on yours, but we probably got some settings we don't have right. So just monitor.
Oh, dear God.
Yours. Yeah. You probably want to hit those.
Okay. Well, I think I have one. It says, "Sup, big dog. Hoo-yah."
Oh, you want to read out the name and the amount they donate you, brother. I'm getting Andy into the live stream game, so this is a coaching and mentoring exercise while we do this. Okay,
Joey Moya, $20, and
that's a $20 dono.
I know, but dude, hoo-yah is a terrible word. You only use it in training. I don't like it. It's the worst. Oh, here's no one. I look like Scott Stapp. No shit. That was $1.99. I've been told I was the lead singer of Creed for fucking 20 years now. All right, come on, man.
First of all, that's not an insult. Fucking Creed is the greatest band of all time. So,
yeah, he's an innovator and pioneer in the space. So
all right, just keep an eye on that.
I got my phone up now, dude. I'm crushing it now.
Okay, now we're good. We're good. All right, I'll hit a few of mine. Oh no, we already got that one. Guys, if I miss some, I'm sorry. We got a lot of people in these chats, right? Butt Crack Malone, $10 for Nate's alcoholic fund. Appreciate it. I'm not quite there yet, but we're working on alcoholism one step at a time. WM Alum, $10 super chat. Appreciate it. Dano Not the Lionsden, $5.55. There's a song reference here, Dancing Queen by ABBA. We're not playing that. We'll get demonetized. James Smith, $10. Nothing will change. This was never about nukes. Iran is the only country that supports Palestine. Netanyahu's biggest fear is Palestine state, yada, yada, yada. Maybe we can probably talk about that. $10 from Joe. I heard Rob O'Neill took out the Ayatollah this morning. Can you confirm?
I was going to tell you, I love the internet, right? It's undefeated. I saw a meme that said identities of the B-52 pilots were revealed, and it was Tim and Rob side by side.
I put that on my Instagram.
It's the fucking best. It is the best.
Yeah. All right, so I want to Andy, let's talk about a strategic victory here, okay? The 12-day war. Yeah. I'm looking at this. I'm like, where are we different than we were 12 days ago?
We have
You know,
less
we
ordnance in our inventory.
that's it. That's about the extent of it.
I mean, there was damage done, but I mean, if you legitimately think about it, and that's honestly why I think this possibility of giving Iran the out that they wanted, I don't think they have much more gas in the tank. There's a lot of people in the intelligence space, when they talk about Iran and their capability, especially in the region, they use the term paper tiger, their term, not mine. I'm not a specialist on Iran. But any country, to include the United States, I mean, we have a limited arsenal and a limited ability to conduct warfare. They're sanctioned off. They're isolated to a degree. They do have allies that could provide them. But at the same time, I mean, there was a massive expenditure of ordnance on both sides. I mean, I'm not so sure that there's going to be a massive difference. I don't know if it's massively different than it was before.
I just, for me, I'm looking at it. I'm like, okay, we killed some top generals, cool, some scientists. We probably set their facilities back here and there. The regime hasn't changed. The Ayatollah is still there. The Revolutionary Guard still has complete control of the government. All the IRGC-backed terrorist organizations are not going to just randomly stop doing what they're doing. So strategically, because what I see happening here is it's going to be like, you're going to see all of the calls about how Trump, and again, I'm not trying to be anti-Trump. You guys know I'm conservative. I'm just saying there's going to be all the calls for how Trump brought peace to the Middle East. And it was like, we're more at peace are we now than we were 13 days ago before this happened? I don't really know. I don't see it. Like, is this going to stop, the Houthis from doing their shit? Is this going to stop, Hezbollah or Hamas or any of these? Like,
I don't think it's going to stop it at all.
Is the funding stopped? Like, what have we really done here?
I don't think it's going to stop at all. You've talked about, you want to talk about, regime change or nation building. And that was one of the things that I wrote down because it came up in that audio clip. I don't know of an example of the United States doing a great job at regime changing or nation building. I don't know if it's possible for the United States to have truly a hand in stabilizing or sorting out what's going on in the Middle East. We view the world differently. And you know this from your time working over in that part of the world. And not all of the views that we have are radically extreme, but we view the world differently than people in different areas of the world. For us to come in and try to be the arbiters of what's right and wrong and what the world is supposed to look like over there, I have my concerns on whether or not that would be successful. Because again, I'm trying to think, and somebody please point out an example, if I am wrong, a spot where specifically the U.S. military just knocked it out of the park when it came to nation building.
So I was going to stop you there and tell you, when you said we're not very good at regime change, Andy, we are very, very good at regime change. But the back half of what you said,
I take that back. The mechanics of regime change we're very good at. The long-term impact and effect may not be what we're great at.
We are absolutely horrible at what comes after the regime change, right? We have no problem changing your regime.
That's fair.
And I think you bring a great point. It's like, imagine you just like me. I remember, I don't know, it might have been my first time in a real Taliban village where the women like shocked me. And I figured these poor women are going to be, not even allowed to come out of the rooms and all this. And they came out screaming, trying to punch the Afghans, like the most over the top defensive. And I started to learn of like, oh, maybe this like American values is not exactly what everyone in the world wants, even the oppressed people. And so this is kind of what we constantly do. We head over there. We say, we got to bring you democracy. And even right now, for example, with Iran, you just keep hearing 60 to 70% of the population is ready to overthrow the regime. Well, didn't we hear that like with Iraq? Didn't we hear that with Afghanistan? Yeah. Didn't we hear that with Syria? And then once we get there, it just doesn't ever seem to be the case.
Well, and so I just was kind of looking over at the chats, and somebody mentioned Japan and Germany as examples of nation building and regime change. And what I want to point out is this. Those are probably good examples, but guess what? We had boots on the ground in both of those countries, and we still have a military presence there to this day in both Germany and Japan. So does the American public have the tolerance for us to spend 50 plus years in Iran? in Syria, in Yemen, in Iraq, in
Ugh.
Afghanistan. That, I mean, I'm not saying it's not possible, but that's the lens or the length of time you might have to look at for a regime change similar to Japan and Germany. We that's how long we've been there, and we are still there.
Yeah, that's a great point. Like, do we have the appetite for it? It doesn't seem like we ever do. Not recently. Vietnam, we didn't. Korea, we didn't. The global war on terror, we didn't. Iraq, we didn't. Afghanistan, we didn't. Like, so, and I feel like that area of the world actually has sort of less compatibility with the West than Japanese culture does, than German culture, especially. You had an evangelical-esque society that was more of an easier crossover there. Next, I want to talk about, we're going to hit some super chats first, but I want to talk about, as we get into this, the likelihood this ceasefire actually works and plays out. Because as me and Andy were talking about this right before this, Israel actively, as we are talking, is bombing the shit out of Tehran. Actively right now.
It's dropping lead like a class 5 tsunami over there right now. Now, technically,
so they're gonna,
the ceasefire hasn't kicked in, so they haven't violated the ceasefire yet. But they appear to be getting it in right up into the wire.
It just feels like a good faith thing. Like, if you really were trying to have a ceasefire in good faith, like, you'd probably stop trying to kill people on the other side, I would think. But rather than just up to the last second, we're going to bomb the shit out of you. But again, we'll talk about this after this. Let me hit these. Yeah. Let's hit some super chats. Make sure you get yours too. Joe Saunders, $5. Guys, I want to know how to run my own YouTube channel. I'm learning real time. If you want to learn how to run a YouTube channel, get the fuck off this live podcast and go watch some people that actually know what they're doing. Me and Andy do our best. Okay, that's about all we can say. Jake O'Donnell, $10. If I was going to spam text you what you wanted to say, I mean, all the dick pics, bro. Dan Not the Lions Den, $5. Neither of you is black. I'm unsubscribing from you both. Okay, well, that's fair. Neither of us are. So yeah. Foxglow, $5. Ayatollah XBB who tops. Oh yeah, I'm not going to talk about that one. That's probably get us banned off YouTube if we actually talked about that. Holden 2 dicks, $20. Lots of wounded kids in Gaza. Are you sure TK not down there? That's
strong username, by the way. I don't know if you caught that.
Yeah. Andy bringing out the tactical weenie for world peace. Is that something I don't know about? I don't know. Maybe Andy could fill me in on that one here.
Miniature dachshund.
Oh, yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay, I do know. Got it. All right. Jeffrey Peterson, $5. Was this war all BS? We're going to talk about that too. Daniel, Not the Lines in, $5. Mini, kick the doors in, but do you sweep one? Questions. I don't know what you got. All right. Andy, if you got super chats, let them fly before we jump into this next topic.
Yeah, got $5 one from Andrew McKellar. Lots of talk about sleeper cells and potential targets. What's the odds of this?
We need to talk about that.
Yeah, ammunition plants and mill bases, big events. That is a pretty common one, and you hear a lot of people talking about an enhanced threat. There are some people, Sarah Adams, probably the top of this list, talking about a homeland attack. I don't know if that's her phrase or others. I wish I could give people some inside data and gouge. I do not have any direct link, source, or information other than the people that I talk to. I can't speak for Nate. For myself, I'm not the kind of person that drives around with my kit in my car. I have still right to this day,
brother.
Yeah, JSOC standalone plates. I have a helmet, knife. I have all the fucking tools that I used to have, and they're in a safe. I am not at a place yet where I am driving around carrying those things.
Andy,
Andy,
I don't. People hear this because I'm a firearms instructor. I teach CHL classes. I teach night vision classes. All these different things. I don't even conceal carry. I live in a rural area, and I'm just not that concerned about it. I can defend myself without a gun, just like you can, and I just am not that worried about it. To your point, but anyway, go ahead.
Yeah. Well, and the thing is, I will tell people if I ever hear about something that would to change that for me, I would tell people. The number one thing I actually have probably more of than firearms is the ability to stop bleeding. I have a lot of trauma kits just because, one, we sell them at the coffee shop. But if you look at the stats, you're way more likely going to have to stop bleeding than cause somebody to start bleeding. And this is not to say people shouldn't pay attention. I believe people should be utterly capable of violence and use it as a measure of last resort, because you don't rise to the occasion. You will fall to the level of your training, whether that's with your hands or with the firearm. But I also think if you constantly tell people there's a threat, they are going to burn out. And I don't think that makes you any safer either. So I love the thing, be prepared to be your own first responder. Where I live, it could be up to 30 minutes of handle your own shit until a higher level of care arrives. And that's a really long time for people who have never been around a crisis or a car wreck. And there's multiple injuries or, not necessarily fatalities, but very serious hydraulic fluid leaks from human beings. 30 minutes seems like a lifetime, but you can mitigate that with tools, preparation, and education. And I highly advocate that for everybody. That'll help prepare you if something like that does happen. I think more so than walking around on pins and needles. And I hear this from people all the time. Oh, every restaurant I go into, I have to put my back onto the wall and I look at all the exits and I count them. I'm like, listen, live your life however you want to, but I feel like you would enjoy your life a little bit more if you took a wrap off from time to time.
Yeah. And that's a great point. So I teach trauma medicine classes too. And that's the one thing I do always have. I've got multiple truck kit bags that I have with me all the time. I'm much more likely to need that because that's a great point. The odds of you now, I'm not saying it can't happen. One of my partnered firearms instructors literally had to schwack a dude in a 7-Eleven that tried to rob and kill the people there. Right. It does happen. It's a real thing, but the odds of that, and it also, man, I did have sleeper cells as an entire topic for today. We might as well just hit it right as we're talking about it. Right?
I think they're real. I think that given the number of people that have crossed into our country, even a microscopic number, if you were to multiply that by the very large number of the people who came in, yes, you are likely going to have an individual or entities working independently or off a timeline or whatever it may be. Yes, I think that exists. But again, I'll go back to my previous point. Is it enough for people to like, fuck, now in the F-150, it's, body armor with mags, jammed full. And I'll tell people if I ever get to that place. Also, again, take it with a grain. I live in a state that has 1.1 million people total.
Yeah, Andy lives in rural Montana. I live in rural Oregon. There is a reason, and I tell people this, Andy. I'm like, if I'm going to head into downtown Portland for some shit I have to do, my self-defense sort of situational awareness is highly elevated. Now I have those things on me because I'm in an environment where the likelihood of that is extremely high, or extremely high comparative to rural Montana or some places like that.
Yeah. The risk exposure is higher.
Yeah. And there's no doubt, guys. Look, we let in 20 million people that we don't know where they're from. And well, we do know where a lot of them are from, and they're from places like Syria and Iran and Afghanistan and China and all of these places that potentially have actors that want to do harm. And also what you'll see is it does not take 100 sleeper cell agents to carry out an attack effectively. It takes one. We saw the one in Louisiana a couple months ago that killed almost 20 Americans, injured a bunch more. So I would say, to Andy's point, don't let it change your life to where you're going to live in fear and you don't do the things that you would normally want to do. But at the same time, be smart about what you do. Maybe don't go out to the riot downtown that's going on, right? Like maybe like I know Andy got a bunch of flack for the January 6th thing, but it's like, hey, maybe don't show up to the fucking violent riot and then wonder why you got fucked up, right? There's some like common sense that goes into these things at times of heightened potential violence like we're in right now, guys. So like you can be smart about what you're doing without, having to completely change your life, at least is how I feel about it.
I totally agree. And also make yourself as dangerous as possible and you'll be shocked. You'll never want to use, like, I love jujitsu. There's a lot of reasons why. Like my wife is a high level competitor and coach, and we spend time together and we get to travel the world. I spend hours every week trying to choke my friends unconscious. The last thing I want to do is actually get into a fight on the streets where legalities come into play, drunk people come into play, people picking up objects come into play, edged weapons come into play, because knives scare the shit out of me way more than guns do. Like it's funny. The most violently capable people I know will walk away from violent
Yeah.
confrontations
Oh yeah.
every fucking time, unless you put them into a corner, and then that's your fucking fault.
Yeah. Yeah, we've talked about that on the channel quite a bit of de-escalation. And it's like, dude, I'm a big motherfucker, and if I bump into a guy at a bar, I'm going to apologize. If I knock the drink out of your hand, I'll offer you to buy a drink. Like, I'm 40 years old. I'm not trying to get into it. And also, for someone like, especially like you, Andy, with multiple, okay, you got a SEAL Team 6 operator. Are you black belt?
Yep.
Okay, black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Andy defends himself in a situation and ends up killing a dude in the street. He is what he's going to face legality wise of what was actually self-defense with all of that background. It's almost impossible for a judge to be like, oh, you didn't have to do that. Right. So that's a scary thing.
Steven Seagal,
right?
Cooking pies on the oven before I save a battleship.
Or a UFC fighter gets in a fist fight. Right. And then all of a sudden they're going to prison for it. Right. So we're getting a little sidetracked off the idea of sleeper cells, but yes, they're 100% in the country, guys. Like that's you can't expect that 20 million people came in from all around the world and there aren't a few bad actors. I guess the question then is,
think about this too. The internet is a real thing. If you look at the San Bernardino shooters or the event that occurred in San Bernardino, that was a husband and wife. The husband largely got radicalized via the wife, but he never actually traveled out of the country and interfaced with the group that he espoused beliefs in. He used the internet to become indoctrinated from the introduction from his wife for clarity. But we have tools now like the phone or the computer that I'm looking at in front of you. I mean, it's a different world. You have access to that type of ideology from impressionable and malleable minds. And again, I'm not trying to paint like this doomsday scenario, but it is real. I mean, even on top of the immigration aspect of that.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, you could have had nobody come into the country in the last 4 years and you would still have, that homegrown T word. We can't say that on YouTube. That's still a potential threat. Andy, if you got super chats, let's hit them. I know we kind of ranted there a little bit.
I don't know. My phone are all gone. Even though, let's be honest, I'm probably not looking at the right thing.
That's pretty. Yeah, that can happen too. We're going to get this much better set up. I imagine. I mean, we're cracking off.
This is a one time. Like people are either involved in this or it's never happening again.
Yeah, Andy's like, "Fuck you, Nate. I'm never doing this again, you dickhead."
There's one here, $10 from Brent Shavers. Every time the U.S. says it's pulling out, it ends with boots back on the ground. Do you ever really trust someone who says they're going to pull out? I'm just saying, not necessarily on topic, but think about it. Think about one night stand that turns in, oh, there you go. You already finished the joke for me. Yeah.
Especially military dudes, man. We're horrible at that. We're great at having kids and getting divorces, man. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah.
All right, let me hit a couple here. Cleveland Dad, $10. We are here because you're real people like us. I really agree with your politics, but it's America, and one of the only things we have left is open comms with each other. Love the lives. Keep it up. No war. Yeah. I'm going to talk about that too with you, Andy, because we were going to talk about regime change and your feelings on after these super chats. Maybe we'll talk about your appetite for war, having been somebody that fought it. You get these different perspectives from people. I don't want to call out names, but like John Shrek McPhee and me have very, very different approaches to how positive war is. And I've heard you talk about before on your not your live stream, a couple of your videos about you being a professional soldier. And I think we have a pretty similar view on, the guy who's like, oh yeah, man, I slaughtered so many fucking people and it was so fucking badass. And like, we have that soft veteran. And then we sort of have like you and I think kind of look at like, I was a fucking professional soldier, right? Yeah. That went and did a job that was required of me to the best of my ability. And it wasn't about, and I think you mentioned before, like every person that you've had to eliminate, you had like a 1/10 of a second to make that decision. For me, it was the exact same thing. Like I wasn't out there like, yeah, I'm fucking coming out to slaughter people tonight. Like it was never that way for me or anybody I even knew.
Yeah, I was actually going to open probably talking about that. I don't know where people get that mentality where it's the like waxing and twisting your mustache as you plan the demise of every person you encounter. The number of times I was startled or shocked and had to make a very quick, it wasn't always like action reaction, but what I will say is this. So when I was deploying on the East Coast Command, it was very, very kinetic. It was find, fix, finish, going structures and going through structures. And I mean, you just don't have time to sit there and tell yourself this fantasy or fairy tale or romanticize what it's going to be like. You're like, holy shit. And you make a decision. The interesting thing is you have the rest of your life to consider the consequences of your decision, the gravity of your decision. When I went back in 2010, I did a lot more time up in an overwatch position and took quite a few shots from my 300 Win Mag on that deployment. And I tell you what, the longer you watch somebody, the more you question, am I doing the right thing?
Yeah.
And you had time and I wanted to be sure. And what I found was the farther the deployment went on, I would give people more and more and more rope to show me that I shouldn't make the decision that I felt like I should make. If it got to the threshold, the decision was made, but it was harder the more time that I had because I could think more about, I guess, even anything, the grander perspective of life from that person. Should I take this action that will end every other choice that they have for the remainder of their life? And what the fuck does that mean for me and me having to deal with that for the remainder of mine?
Yeah, man, that's deep. And that's where I want to get into like the appetite for another war. And I want to say this, like, look, if there is going to be times in America's history in the next 100 to 200 years where we will absolutely have to go to war, and it will be for a good reason. I believe that. I believe things like World War I, World War II, Korea, maybe. I don't know if you want to get into the communist thing, probably not. But like, there's going to be times where defense might matter, right? Like countries invade other countries, maybe you have to have it. But like this Middle East shit that we've done for the last 20 years, this regime change, nation building wars. I can't look to a single place in the Middle East that you and I served and go, man, right now in 2025, the things we did there really mattered and really made a change. And all my buddies that either we lost or lost their limbs, or again, as I was telling you before the show, my company sergeant major just fucking self-deleted himself 2 days ago. Two of my ODA teammates of 12 guys in the last 3 years have self-deleted, right? So
yeah,
that's where I come from, the lens of like, if it's not warranted, I don't want to see the next generation fucking go through that again. As much as we might, I'm sure you probably, the adrenaline rush, the deployment chase, it's kind of like this hypocritical thing to say, but the backside of it is not good. And I think it's getting worse. I think we're seeing this elevated ramp of PTSD, of self-deletion in the global war on terror generation that's just starting. I think we're just seeing the first effects of how ugly this stuff really is.
I describe war in the terms of, if you touch war, it's going to touch you back and it's going to leave a fingerprint on you. And I think it can turn you into a better version of who you are. And I do think it can destroy you too. And I don't understand why for some people it destroys them. And I don't understand why for some people it makes them a better version. And I mean, I can speak for myself. I don't think that there are any situations that if I could go back, given the information I had in the moment, that I would change my decision in that moment. But seeing how those countries have played themselves out, seeing the impact that it has had on my friends, realizing now the absolute torture of fear and worry that I put my family and loved ones through, that I selfishly did not acknowledge at the time, because like you said, the chase was real. I feel obligated to try to be a force for good, to try to be a force for levering things in a positive direction, and to also not be defined by my fucking stupid job title was at this point almost 13 years ago.
Oh, that's a big one, man. I like that you say that. I like that you say that.
It's not fucking easy. I mean, so there's not a day that goes by where I don't think about something that happened in that time period of my life. And for clarity, half the time I'm laughing because we were a group of Down syndrome, retarded monkeys with machine guns. That is essentially the technical doctrine definition of naval special warfare. And the dumbest shit that I have ever seen. The most hilarious stuff. People making
That's true.
dynamic entries into rooms of human shit and sliding their feet out from under them on the floor. And as the 2-man, I'm supposed to follow them, but instead I just close the door. Like the stuff that we would do. And then and then it's like you'll think back to something that happened or a friend. I have lost track of how many of my friends have killed themselves, and I don't.
Yeah.
A lot of them, I will say, is this: it was paired with substance abuse, specifically alcohol. And the community when I was
100%.
in was very heavy into a drinking culture, which is not the community's fault because some people come out of that okay. It's again, right? Like, what do you do with it? But man, we can do better. I think people who have experienced that have an obligation to tell the fucking truth and to not romanticize this mist in the hallway as you're sneaking around and you're just like in your mind, like I'm the fucking big Johnny badass. And remember at times that I shot somebody because I was fucking scared because they startled me and they had a gun. And the only reason I'm alive is because I had fucking night vision goggles and they didn't. Like, come on. I'm not a Johnny badass. I had the technological advantage on a guy who was 3 centuries behind and he scared the shit out of me. Like, but I've seen and felt, and I'm sure you have too, the impact on that, on the soldier, on the family, on the extended social group. It is our obligation to tell people the truth and not romanticize that shit. It should be a measure of absolute last resort.
Yeah, and I mean, I like that you do that. I watched a lot of your stuff where you've talked about that same type of thing. It's what I do on my channel. Some of my biggest videos are that same thing of like, hey, here's the reality of it. Here's how it's fucked me up. Here's how it fucks people up. Is there a high adrenaline addicting thing to it? Sure. Yeah, guess what? Fucking meth and heroin and all that shit's pretty fucking addicting too, right? And people get locked on that. Does that make it good for you? Not necessarily, right? So, all right, let me hit some super chats. Good discussion. Goddamn, there's a lot of people in the chat. Let me get through these quick. John Hanish, $5. Also, if you got some, Andy, try to get them. I hate that we're missing some. If we are, I know we're missing some guys. I'm sorry, but like, there's just a lot of chat moving. All right. John Hanish, is my super chat Saturday the reason I can't find the replay wet down soon after? Bro, I don't know what that means. Appreciate the dono, though. Dano, not the Lions Den, $11. Come here, you little F words. Jesus loves you. Well, I hope so. Probably not, though. But, oh, wait. Oh,
he loves me more than you.
Yeah. Probably. All right, Zuby, $10. Have you seen vlogs with the Taliban? They bring up psychological effect they put on American soldiers, so they're aware of it. I mean, they have their own YouTube channel. It's as big as me and Andy's, dude. MOD Afghanistan. Go check it out. Cole, $2. Bro is on a roll with these streams. Yeah, and we're fortunate to have Andy on tonight.
I was gonna say he's definitely talking about you. Definitely not talking about me.
Well, that's because this is like your second one ever. I
feel like I'm kind of nailing it.
Yeah, you're crushing. You're absolutely crushing. Other than like, not knowing what the hell's going on in your own chat, but that's okay. Again, we're gonna work our way through this, guys. All right. Dano, not the Lions Den, 777. Thank you. It's simple. All of us would answer the call to defend our beautiful country, but none of us will answer the call to defend foreign nation. That's kind of an argument that, oh man, that's a tough one to talk about.
Dude, I just figured this out. It has nothing to do with the comment. You look up there, you see some are yellow, some are green.
Mm-hmm.
Yellows are mine.
No. Are they?
Yeah, because somebody just put my name in a yellow one. So therefore, because I have a data point of 1, all the yellow points are mine.
Okay. I was going to say the colors are based off the amount they donate, Andy, but that's
God
that's
damn
right.
it. Never mind. I stand corrected.
Again, look at your phone. I promise you probably got them in there. But the problem with your phone, Andy, is that the chat moves fast, so you've probably missed a shit ton. But guys, if you're watching on Andy's channel, he appreciates the money you're donating to him, and he appreciates the
hopefully
support,
he's just going to you because I'm not capable of answering their questions effectively. I literally just thought it was color coded based off who they were asking, and clearly I'm an idiot.
You know what we need is we need to finally pay some 23-year-old kid to fucking help us with the studio.
Never.
That's not gonna happen. All right, Element 212, $10. Andy, do you have a quickish cool story about DJ Shipley? Dude gives
I never worked with the guy
vibes.
Never worked with the guy. I've only met him one time in a social setting, and we said hi, shook hands. That was it. So I wish I did.
All right. Well, there you go. I don't either. I've talked to DJ a couple times, but I don't know him personally either. So unfortunately, no. We can't help you with that one. Do you have any in your phone that you're looking at? Have you checked? You probably
Yeah,
should
they're all
check.
yellow too. They're all yellow.
Those are the good ones.
Okay. Fuck. I just swiped him away. Oh my God. This is a nightmare. Andy, where's Michelle? He's the guy who does the camera switching for me. His real name is Michael, but I refuse to call him that. He is, I don't know, probably off the hot dog up his ass somewhere. I'll ask him what he was doing this afternoon. Gino Page, $20 with strategic strikes and now ceasefire. What would be their best way to educate and bring others together?
Oh yeah.
Ooh, what they
don't.
What they are we talking about here with strategic strikes and a ceasefire? What would be the best way to educate and bring others together? Are they talking about us? Or are they talking about people? Nate, are you talking to your wife?
Yeah, she's looking at all your super chats. We're trying to figure out how to do this better for you.
Listen, I'm reading an important one here. I need your insight.
All right, you got him. All right, got it.
Power,
got it.
Of which Green Berets have more than SEALs. With strategic strikes and now ceasefire, what would be their best way to educate and bring others together? I don't know if they're talking about us or the region.
Okay. Strategic ties with ceasefire. What's the best way to bring people together? I don't know if they're talking about like peace between Israel and Iran. Look, here's the thing. You're not going to educate that area of the world because one, those that have the internet, it's completely like locked off. They don't have the regular access to information that the rest of the world guys does. They have a bubbled access to information that can't get outside of that for the most part. Don't expect that area of the world to be educated, man. And I'm sure Andy knows. I spent a lot of time in Afghanistan trying to educate my partner force.
Yeah.
Fuck, dude. Like you said, they're 1,000 years behind in a lot of things. And I'm not saying that like in a negative connotation way. I'm just saying that's the reality of the world. That's where they're at. For you to think that a country that basically believes in one book and won't really, not all of them, but won't even like listen to any outside information outside of that one book, that you're going to get them to somehow come to the table and they're going to have peace between the two cultures and nations. It's a tough sell, man. And let
me give you an example of partner force, which Nate, I bet you will laugh at this story. I've talked about this. We were in Kaust, and it was my job to educate our partner force. We were talking about GPSs, and I was going to do a map reading class where I talked about specifically topo lines and elevation. And for those of you who don't know, the closer the topo lines are together, the steeper it is. Yeah. I started the conversation telling the group of partner force the altitude at which Afghanistan was at. And I think Kaust is probably somewhere between 4,000 to 6,000 feet. Yeah. One of them raised their hand and through the interpreter told me that Afghanistan is at sea level. And there is a 9-foot berm that surrounds Afghanistan and holds the water back from the ocean. Yeah. This is a true fucking story. And so, again, I don't say that negatively. That is the reality of the partner force and their view, or at that time, in that group, which these were supposedly tier 1 individuals working with us because I was at a tier 1 command. Yep. That was my topo GPS class, which shortly after that, I ended the class because I realized we likely were not going to make a lot of headway.
Yeah. We had, this isn't my story. This is one of my longtime teammates' story that was doing VSO in the early days, 18 Delta, right? And he had to give advice to one of the partner force soldiers who couldn't get his wife pregnant because he didn't actually know which hole he was supposed to use to get her pregnant. And again, that's not to make fun of it, but that's a real thing that was brought to him as a medic on some advice. And that's kind of that's the region of the world that we're looking at there. I don't really know. All right.
Did you say that was in Alabama?
Yeah, Afghanistan. but both could work. Oh, I got a good super chat here. I'll put it on the screen. It says Jana Primer, $10. We need a super fund for Andy's dad's toll fees. I don't know what that joke is. But I'm sure it's.
I was doing an Ironclad show talking about online scams and I said on the show that my father is of the age demographic where he is so susceptible to this. Later that day, I get a text from my brother-in-law. Hey, you need to get on the phone with your dad. He's putting his credit card information onto the internet.
Oh, he gets God.
And he had just actually gone to California and he gets this notification. Hey, You have like a $3 charge. So he puts in his
Right.
first credit card number. It doesn't go through. What does he do? He puts in
Oh,
another
no.
credit card. What does he do? Another one. One of the charges was like $1,500. None of them went through, thankfully, because he probably
Yeah.
doesn't even know his own billing zip code. But he got to go through the process of canceling and getting all new cards. So
Oh,
it was
no.
a fascinating journey in what a 78-year-old man thinks is reasonable with an electronic device in his hand.
Oh my God. It's so funny because I just got one of those the other day of like, you didn't pay a toll and whatever.
I
And
get
I'm
one
like,
almost every day.
yeah. And I was like, who the fuck actually falls for this? And it's like, oh, our dads. That's who's falling for it. All right, a couple more super chats here real quick. Brett Shavers, $10. Every time I know how to put these on the screen now. Look at this. I don't know if you
Already
can
answered
see
that one. Never trust somebody who says they're going to pull out.
All right, we got that one. Andy, sir, you are a blessing. Nate, you are a blessing, brothers. Oh, I thought I was going to get an insult after you got the compliment, but thank you. Hey, Duck, you don't even see the orchard yet. Oh, well, I hope not. All right, and then I got one right here. Yo, I'm in Oregon. Would love to train with you. I'm competing in the tactical games in October. I'm not running any classes in the summer. I'm just focused on competition shooting right now. Doing a lot of USPSA stuff myself. But hey, man, if you're into that, we could work on. We could potentially come out to some matches. And then Foxglow, $5. Still like to buy some iodine pills if you live near a major city. It's
not a bad idea.
Not a bad idea. TK's burner, $10. I love jujitsu because it's an excuse to hug the homies. Okay,
True.
There you go.
Consensual snuggling.
Oh my God, dude. I'm trying to get through these. Andy, let me tug that meat. I need it from Yeasty G with the most inappropriate profile picture I've ever seen.
Not for $1.99, sir. I have respect for myself, right?
You better send a big dono, $100 dono over to Andy's channel if you want that. To his OnlyFans page. Navy SEAL buns and guns, right? His new OnlyFans page. Andanias, $5 to live in West Michigan and Google the interstate. He used to dine and dash at IHOP and then shot at the building. Oh yeah, I mean you're in it out there.
Yeah.
All right. Oh my God. I'm sorry, guys. I'm trying to get through these before you guys are crazy. Ahmed Khan, spreading the love to both channels. Appreciate y'all. Don't beat my ass. I mean, Andy probably could. I probably couldn't, but
I walk away now. I just, like, have a great night. You're so handsome. I'm very ugly. You're so intelligent. I'm very dumb. And I just walk away.
This is crazy, man. I'm trying to just like get through the backlog of these. I love stupid laws. $10. I was guessing Israel was going to ground assault Fordo, but I was wrong. Oh no, brother! If anybody was going to ground assault Fordo, I feel like we would have done it.
Yeah, and even that the airstrike is
boys maybe.
But the airstrike is going to be the easiest first option. I mean, because there's some complications there, and there's a lot of moving pieces to do a ground strike.
Yeah, why don't you talk? Why don't you talk what that? I know people were talking about that, Andy. Why don't you talk about what that would have actually looked like to facilitate?
Holy shit!
That's outside of my realm as a Green Beret for direct raid stuff like that.
I mean, you probably would have had a similar amount of overhead assets that you did. So it probably would have been like the strike package plus, because you probably would have done it concurrently. I don't think you would have done it across the 3 multiple locations. You likely would have done it at the location where you had the intel, where you were actually going to recover what you were after. You probably would have to, I mean, God, it's such a large package to move. You'd have to move people, equipment, the helicopters, because you're not going to fly in. You're not going to do a jump, even though it looks so great in the movies. That would literally be the most dangerous thing that you would do that night, would be a free fall insertion. Fucking people would be everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
So you'd have to pre-stage the package. I mean, we're talking Chinooks, Blackhawks, DAPs,
PJs,
MH6s, all of this stuff. So you probably would have had to
surgeons.
Yep. A JMAL bird for sure, a C-130. So you probably would have gone to a neighboring country. You would have had to probably bring in, jamming assets. I mean, the whole package is massive. And then you have to take into account the stealth bombers, right? Flying. I actually don't know what altitude they fly. I assume super high. But
I think like 30 to 40,000 feet. So yeah, it's really high.
Yeah. I mean, so on a helicopter now, you're talking crossing the border, man-pad threat, ground threat, artillery, not artillery, anti-aircraft fire threat, all of that. It is super, super complicated. Then you're on the ground. The contingencies involved with that. What if one of your refueling assets goes down? Because there's going to be a refuel along the way, whether it's on the way in, on the way out. What if that goes down? What if your main platforms goes down? You know, minimum force, casualties, like you said, like bringing in PJ, like it would be a lot.
And that's just to get to the 500, 400 foot deep bunker you potentially got to.
And then, by the way,
your way
you're probably
into.
going to be in MOP 4 because we're talking chem bio
Yeah.
nuke.
Yeah.
Actually,
Dude.
I never trained for radiological stuff. We hit the #1 chem bio target in Iraq in 2003. It was an agricultural school. No big deal. There was a tomato plant in the greenhouse outside. And they told us to get a soil sample. Fantastic intelligence. MOP level 4. I actually ripped my mask off at some point because I would have rather died from sarin gas.
Yeah.
Than fucking suffocate in my mask. First target I'd ever been on. I knocked my nods off of my helmet with a sledgehammer trying to breach a door. Didn't realize it until half an hour later.
Did you lose them?
No, I went back and got them because I'm a fucking professional. Because I went up to
Oh
click
my
them down
God.
on the helicopter, and I was like, "Oh boy!"
For those of you who don't know, most softwoods would rather die than lose their nods.
I told my boss, I'm like, I'll be right back. I have to go get something. And then so I was running to the helicopter with like fucking left-handed so I could have my hand on my M4. Total absolute shit show. And so I don't even know what you would do for radiological. I don't know if the MOP level actually covers you for that. You'd have to have like the Geiger counters on. It would be a proper fuck show.
Yeah. All of that, or you could use B-2 bombers.
Yeah.
I mean, that seems like a little bit easier. I will say this. Me and a buddy were talking about this when we talk about boots on the ground in Iran. I don't know what you think about this, but to me, flying all of those bombers in there, do you think we had any, let's say, CSAR staged along the way that had been implanted in the event that any of those pilots went down in Iran?
I don't think
this is hypothetical that we'll never know, guys. But just what's your thoughts on that? Because you've done more stuff like this than I have.
I don't think it would be in the country, but it would be within striking distance.
Okay. Yeah.
I didn't know. Yeah, is what the term means. And we're talking about, say, one of those B-2s has to eject over Iran. How do you get the pilots out? So it's a contingency that I'm sure that they plan for. I would imagine, and I have absolutely no data to support this, that they had a package of some kind within striking distance.
Okay. Yeah, I figured there's no way that they just flew those in there with nothing planned or near, but I didn't know if it was one of those things where it's like, maybe we will stage people inside. All right. I want to talk next. We'll hit some super chats first, but I want to talk next with Andy about, again, I know we haven't talked yet about, does the ceasefire last? Is this peace, and is the conflict completely over? So we'll talk about that next. So think about that for a second while we hit these. All right, real quick, W&M, can I sign up for a course and bring my 9-year-old son? No, brother, that's way too young. Would love to have him trained by a professional. Not too young. Maybe, when you get into like 13, 14, that's getting close. War Ranch LLC, $10. God bless both of you. Thank you for your balls of brass. I mean, I'm not sure we have balls of brass, man. A lot of us aren't as brave as we think. We just do what we need to do to survive, and a lot of the times. Yeah. Got another one here. Zuby. Have you seen the vlogs with Taliban that bring up psych? Oh, we already got that one already. Okay, I already got some of these. All right. Again, I probably am missing some, but again, there's just so many people in the chat. Let's see if I missed. Diesel Gaming TTV, $10. Sorry if I didn't make the start of the live. Love y'all's content, Nate, and have been watching Andy for a very long time. You guys are awesome. Keep up the good work. Semper Fi, brothers. We appreciate you. Coop Twins, $5. They might be technologically behind 1,000 years, but they have Nephilims. Oh, the giant of Kandahar. Yeah, they might. I never saw them though, and I spent all my time in Kandahar in southern Afghanistan. So I don't know where the I don't know where the giant of Kandahar is. All right, Andy, you got super chats? You got?
Maybe. I don't know. Hold on, let me hit this button and see what it says. So from Dev 1360, $10. We had Lion Suits, FM54s, PRDs, full kit, ST53s, supplied air, four gas monitors, and duodotes for nerve agent on top of all the miserable decon training. Yeah, that's the worst environment imaginable. Just imagine soldiering, but then wearing all of that stuff on top. It is. Oh,
no thanks.
It makes my skin crawl, actually.
Yeah.
Andy, just going to say, Gino's page, $10. Andy, just going to say I'm safe, most likely here in Marana, AZ, your old stomping grounds. Ha, 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 ha. Marana is awesome. I did a bunch of jump training out there when I was at the East Coast.
Moran. Where's Moran at? In
Marana.
Arizona. You said Arizona?
It's in between Phoenix and Tucson, or Tucson, if you will.
Huh. We were in Arizona all the time when I was on the Halo team, but we were usually in Yuma or like Skydive, Arizona. I hadn't heard of that before. Interesting.
And by we, I mean an element that I am no longer a part of in any way, shape, or form, may have their own jump facility out there. Hypothetically.
Okay, yeah, no, we have to rent sky vans. You ever jumped out of a sky van, Andy?
Oh, hundreds of times. Yeah.
Oh, you have? Okay, good. You guys have to deal with that shit show too, then. Good. All right. I was gonna say we do all of our training out of like, yeah, I know, but I mean, you're just like, man, this is. I remember the first time jumping out of a sky van. I was like, dude. And I remember the way the sky van works, guys. It's like this toaster oven with wings, and it like goes like 80 miles per hour all the way up to the top. And the back gate on the ramp has this like angle on it, and you have to like pull it open and like lean way out over and try to like get the locking mechanism in while the whole thing's like bouncing like this and everybody's on it. But yeah,
he's making it sound hard, but it's super, super easy if you're not afraid of falling out, which is the purpose of jumping.
But like you say, you got a parachute on, so if you fall out of the plane, you fall. You'll be okay. All right, real quick, Sean Rovig, $20 from Hood, Oregon. Thanks for the show. Appreciate you, brother. All right, Andy, let's talk about, unless you got any more super chats.
Nope.
Okay. Oh, God, I got some now. No, I got super chats for you. Quick question, Andy. Is it gay if you thrust from the position while rolling BJJ? I don't know. That's a question for you, brother.
Depends on the position now, wouldn't it be? Are you on somebody's back or are they on your back? Because then it would be more appropriate to push back into them, if you know what I'm saying.
So maybe.
Yeah.
Context depends. All right, Darkboard, $20 for all the shit talking about our military over the past few years, and the strike and subsequent lack of response proves no one actually wants the United States smoke. I say that all the time, man. Just because I don't want us to get in another war does not mean we will not absolutely curb stomp and face fuck every other country on the planet. It's not even close, man. Like this is a demonstration of it. You know what I mean? Of like Iran finding out real quick. And Andy, I did a whole video that everybody talked shit to me for about 2 months ago called Iran's military is a paper tiger. And I just talked about all their actual capabilities. People are like, no, you don't even know. Well, from the looks of it, wasn't even close.
Google the bombers that actually did the flight. They're almost 30 years old.
Oh, the B-2s?
Yeah. And
that's crazy.
Crushing still. And so if that's what we had 30 years ago, I agree with your assessment. I mean, there is plenty to critique about the U.S. military, the structure, the leadership, all of those things. But if push comes to shove, people have absolutely no understanding the violence that can be brought upon them.
Yeah. All right. We got one. Congrats on figuring out how YouTube chat works. Boomers, big fan. Yeah, we're working our way through it. All right.
I'm not that old.
All right. Let's talk about, and I think it's important, right? Does this ceasefire last? Does it do anything? Is this actually the end to the 12-day war? We talked about how Israel is literally just still bombing the shit out of Tehran.
Yeah. Which again, technically, it hasn't.
Get your perspective. Yeah. So you're right.
It hasn't kicked in. They're getting it under the wire, and I could see them thinking if they had a target list of things that they wanted to reduce the capability of to zero before a ceasefire were to begin. I'm like, okay, I guess I could understand that. Does it hold? God. The better question would be if there were timelines associated with that. Will it hold for a little bit? My personal guess, and that's all it counts for, is yes, but I don't think it will hold forever.
Yeah. I am going to agree with you on that. I'm going to expand a little bit on it. I think in the short term, and I think you'll agree with this, in the short term, you know, the nuclear facilities got to get re-ramped up. Who knows how long that takes? Iran's got to re-put together their C2 structure. I mean, all their generals are dead. But 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years from now, IRGC backed, you know, terrorist groups, is Iran still going to fund those? Is Hamas still going to be a problem? Is Hezbollah still going to be a problem? Are the Houthis still going to be a problem? I think so. I think to me, this just feels like I don't know how long from now, Andy, but like 5 years from now, 10 years from now, all the memes of, you know, Netanyahu sitting before Congress talking about how we have to go in and remove the nuclear facilities. Those are going to be like memes on repeat because we're going to be seeing the exact same shit we saw today. because I don't see Iran culturally with the regime in power being like, okay, this time we're really gonna stop. We learned our lesson. We're just gonna come to the world stage. We're gonna allow the research or the nuclear inspectors to come in. It's gonna be fine. After you just wrecked our country. Because you know what I mean? The thing about it is, like, an American, if a foreign country or two foreign countries just bombed the shit out of us for 12 days, wrecked all our generals, took out all of our nuclear facilities, and then we're like, you guys good? You good, bro? I don't think we would be, we might in the moment be like, hey, I want peace because we're tired of getting fucked up. But like the resentment from that ain't going nowhere, especially with how bad
the surface of the water, the surface of the water might look stable, but you never know the current right underneath. I could see them doubling down, at least for the current regime that is in power. I could see them doubling down and using this as a chance to take a breath. And honestly, I mean, I don't know what kind of weapon stores Iran even has left. And if they're getting to the end, this is the way to get that breath so they could try to learn from the lessons, refit, right? Try to get, unfortunately, well, maybe it's not unfortunately, it's just the way of the world. They have allies that I am sure will help them to the best of their technical capability with weaponry and all of the things that we may be trying to prohibit them from getting. And this is that breath that allows them to keep the surface of that water looking, pristine when right underneath the current is unseen.
Yeah, and I was thinking about that the other day. Like, how many ballistic missiles does Iran actually have? Because they fired,
I don't know,
400, 500, 600, and at some point, are they just out? Because they can't fight an Air Force war. Like, they can't bomb Tel Aviv with their jets. Yeah. So all they've got is their ICBMs, and beyond that, maybe you're right. They're just literally capped out, and it's like they're just a punching bag.
Well, their response, their response was, I think they shot 13, 12 of them were shot down, and one was allowed to go drift off because it was heading in a direction that was considered to be non-threatening. If that's your tier 1 response, again, I'm not an expert in ballistic missiles, but if 13 is all you have, I don't think that is speaking very highly of your strategic reserves.
Yeah. No, and I agree. And from the sounds of it, they sent 13 up and then told Qatar and the United States where they were coming before they shot them, which is almost just feels like a last gasp. Hey, let us save face to our own people because we have to do this. And then please stop bombing us. That's kind of what it feels like at the moment to me.
I think the ceasefire, probably like any ceasefire, will hold until one party feels like they have what they need to do what they feel like they need to do.
Yeah, that's a good one. All right, real quick. I don't know how much this super chat's actually worth. It says DKK 500. It's a color I've never seen before. So
it's Denmark.
I don't know if that's a lot of money. It seems like a lot of money. Thank you very much for however much that is, because this is a big color. But the question's for Andy. So maybe this is on your channel. I don't know. If it's for me, thank you for donating.
The question's actually about you, though.
Oh, it says, hey, Andy. Hey, the other dude needs a shirt. Buy a dude a shirt. Hi from Skanderborg, Denmark. Maybe we're getting both of our super chats here. That could be. Maybe what the chat is, it shows both of our chats together. All right, whatever. We'll find out at the end. If so, congrats on that big boy, Andy. If not, thank you for that. We don't even know.
48.5 cents.
It might be. All right.
I have no idea what that currency is.
Boner and sweatpants, $20. No, maybe these are yours. Maybe this is. We'll look this up. Maybe what it is we're getting both of our chats all in one chat. I don't know. We're going to find out this thing. Boner and sweatpants, $20, which would actually make it way easier if that was the case. So maybe common sense says that's actually what's going on. You're an inspiration to my cousin. Can you say, Jake, you're an asshat? Thank you both for your service. That's for you, Andy.
Jake, you are indeed an asshat.
There you go. Appreciate you. All right. All right. I think, oh God, man, this chat's fucking crazy. Zachary Rains. Did people die in Jordan? If so, what's the U.S. going to do about it? In Jordan? I didn't hear anything about a strike in Jordan. I
didn't
doubt
either. Are we talking real time? Yeah, I don't know.
All right, Jacob O'Donnell, New Brunswick, Texas, Lionheart walkout, 6:30 p.m. for mental health awareness for all my veterans. Remind all that have someone you matter. 100%, man. And if you guys are suffering, fucking talk to somebody, man. Just it doesn't matter who it is, but just that step could definitely potentially help you and save you. All right, real quick, Scott Young, actual, you guys think the B2s and bunker busters were overkill? Seems like a job for the right guy with a sack of grenades. I've seen that meme already. Was it overkill? I think whatever. I mean, what did it take to reach 500 feet in the ground?
Yeah, it was my understanding that we were the only country that possessed the actual bunker buster, and I think we were the only country that had the airframe that could carry it.
Yep.
I don't feel like we have a shit ton of those, so I feel like the targeters probably reverse engineered what ordnance they thought that they were going to need for that. So probably was the right tool for the job.
Yeah. So, seeing that I am a JTAC, Andy, I can kind of.
So am I.
Are you?
Yeah.
And by JTAC, I mean I passed the school and nobody ever let me drop a real bomb ever in combat. So
I got you. I was very worried it might be landing on me.
Yeah, so there you go. So from two shitty ass JTACs, the way it works, guys, this GBU 57, they use like however many they need. Each one sort of bores a hole down, explodes to create a path for the next one to get deeper and deeper. So the idea is if it took 12, they most likely they had 3 different spots that they hit. It most likely took 2 or 3 to get down.
I think they only did bunker busters on the Fordo one, and I believe the other one were cruise missile submarines.
But I think they hit 3 spots in the Fordo,
gotcha.
If I remember right. Gotcha. So most likely 2 to 3 to penetrate deep enough. So there's no other munition in the world that can penetrate more than 200 feet in the ground. So it most likely was, and I imagine the Iranians had that facility deeper than what a regular bunker buster could get down to. All right, let me get down through the chats. God damn, I think are we almost to the bottom here? I don't know if you got any. I don't know if we have the same. We don't even know anymore. All right, let's do one last thing. Let's talk about one last thing. We'll wrap it up after that. Let's talk about regime change and what it would actually take and look like, because I'm not convinced that this is the end of this potential conflict. I think one domestic terrorist attack, one huge strike on Israel, who knows, could inflame this thing right back up in a couple of weeks. A ceasefire getting broken is not a rare thing in these areas of the world. If, let's say, the ultimate goal here is to remove the Ayatollah with regime change, and Andy spent a lot of time in Iraq and both with Hamid Karzai in Afghanistan, changing regimes on behalf of the U.S. government. God bless you for that, Andy. This is kind of a hard one to preface. Do you think that we can change Iran's regime without boots on the ground? I think that's the first big one to analyze.
Man, do I think we could change Iran's regime without boots on the ground? I don't know what it would take. I mean, the reality is this, right?
Iraq next to it might be like the best thing you can do for that.
Well, I'm just trying to think about what it would take for it actually to stick. I mean, what did we try in Iraq and Afghanistan? We tried in Afghanistan specifically, we picked the person, right? And we said, this is how it's going to be. And it didn't work. In Iraq, we tried to create an environment where they could have a democratic vote, which is a concept that they're not incredibly familiar with. And I'm going to say, looking back, it didn't really work. I think the only way a regime change is going to stick is if the Iranian people do it themselves. So as the United States, would boots on the ground facilitate that? I mean, Afghanistan and Iraq would say, if we repeated that template, no, not for the long term. So is this a matter of us helping create conditions? I don't know what it takes. I'm not a geopolitical expert by any stretch. And I had a limited tactical involvement in the regime change in Afghanistan, in Iraq. And people can view and just look into history as to whether or not that was efficient and effective. If we try that template again, what data do we have to support us to show that the result would be different?
I think the argument people try to make is you have you know, you have, it's like the ethnic argument in Iran where you have, hey, look, 60 to 70% of the population is Persian. They hate now again, the Ayatollah is not Arabic, but they hate the Arabic controlled Revolutionary Guard being in charge of them. But I mean, that's not that different of Iraq, right? Where you had the Shia, Sunni, Kurd divide. Like you had all these. That's not rare. My point is that's not rare in the Middle East to have like a minority group oppressing a majority group. And when we come in there, that doesn't necessarily mean that the minority group or the majority group being freed all of a sudden is like, thank you, West. Thank you, America, for showing up with your tanks and blowing up our cities to free us. That's not really how it seems to work out. What they're trying to say is that Iran is different. The Persian people are different. And it would be different this time because all they need, which the CIA loves this argument, all they need is arms because, well, the Iranian people can't rise up because they don't have any weapons, and the Revolutionary Guard keeps them oppressed. Like we've heard this story around the world 100 times that we've done it. But to your point, what's the real data that shows the Iranian people really have the stomach for that? I don't know. Does anybody know? Or is it the same thing? We go in there, we invade, we overthrow. Now this is like if we really did it, saying we were going to put boots on the ground, which I think you have to put boots on the ground if you want to change this regime. I just don't see how the people, you know, your first time the people try to rise up, what happens? They're going to mow everybody down, just like they do in a lot of these places. The reason why, you know, the CCP hasn't fallen, North Korea hasn't fallen, like all these places that are willing to eliminate their own populations can't really get overthrown that easy. So it's one of those things of like, what does regime change even mean? Because to me, without regime changing, and I'm not saying I want it to happen, but without regime changing, to me, nothing happened. To me, strategically, nothing got fixed. All we did was move the timeline from this point over here to this point. And now it's just the same shit. And we're just waiting for, you know, Iran, Israel, electric boogaloo 2.0 5 years from now. That's all I see at this point.
Yeah, I have a hard time disagreeing with that. And I do not want to see the United States commit to the same tactics that we used for the previous 20 years and achieve the same outcome that we did. I just, having seen it firsthand, I don't have the vocabulary to describe how little I want to see that.
Yeah. Just another, and it won't be quick, guys. If you think we're just going to like, especially in Iran is not Iraq. I'm not saying Iran's military is stronger. It's not. But I mean, geographically, Iran, the Ottoman Empire, the Persian Empire hasn't fallen in 2,000 years for a reason. That place is surrounded in mountains. There's like one way in, one way out. And you can air campaign and bomb the shit out of it. But like going in there with tanks and foot soldiers, basically in between one valley to get into Iran and fight that into the cities. Fuck. I mean, I didn't do the Iraq fight, and I don't regret that. You did. I mean, could you imagine us trying to roll into a place like Tehran and take that if the people didn't? You know, even if the people didn't, you know, if the Ayatollah's Revolutionary Guard doesn't give up, you're trying to fight your way through that. How many American casualties? How many American soldiers does it take to force that regime out? I mean, again, that's a hypothetical kind of, but like,
well, and then
is it worse than Iraq?
Well, and let's say you are able to change the regime. How long are you going to stay? What's your exit strategy? The United States, the military specifically, in my opinion, is very good at breaking things. They're not good at putting things back together. It's not their job. It's not their core competency.
Yeah. And that's a great point. That we've never figured out. Maybe that's the problem is that we just don't know how to rebuild it. I don't know. Let's hit some super chats.
It's not the role of the military. You know what I mean? It's not the role of the military to nation build and rebuild.
Yeah. No, you're not wrong. I mean, like, what do we know? Even as Green Berets, that's sort of supposed to be, you know, work by, with, and through, and partner for us, and win hearts and minds. And on a macro scale, again, the biggest problem I see, or what I've seen, we go in, we liberate the country by killing 1 million people. That's not the best way to win over people to your side usually. And that sort of seems to be the failures. All right, let's hit some super chats and let's get out of here. This has been a good one. This chat's been out of control the whole time. Andy Kistner says, Andy, please search Thunder C word in your email. It's a difficult to parse out.
What's the C word, Nate?
I don't know if we can say it or not. It's fuck it. It's live on both our channels, so we'll both get fucked for it. The Thunder cunt.
What happens if you say words like that? They shut it down?
Maybe I don't think so. I think you can say the C word.
All right.
Maybe not. As long as it's not like rainbow flag oriented, I think you're okay. You won't get in trouble. Do you really even know if they need a regime change, or is this just foreign interest? I mean, I don't know, man. There's no information coming out of Iran of whether they actually need it or not. So fuck, that's your guess is as good as ours, probably. Zuby, Andy, what's your take on the draft, knowing what you know now? Ooh, a draft. That's a good question.
I would hope that we never get to a place where we need the draft. I think there's a lot of things that we could do to entice people into military service. So we would never get to a place where we would have to be at that place. I want the military to be the first option for people, not something that they are dreading or something that they are chosen for based off of a lottery system. But a lot of that has to do with how the military is portrayed, how they're thought of, how they're looked at culturally, and how they behave in and of themselves inside of the military as well. So if we needed to do a draft, I wouldn't want to see that. But if you get to a place where you need to do it, you're probably going to have to. But I think there's a lot of things you could do to actually, and we're not near a draft right now. I think we can continue to do some things that would keep us away from that point for a good period of time, if not always.
I agree with all that, but this is what I tell people. When people say there's no way there will be a draft, I'll go, okay, well, check this out. Revolutionary War, draft. Civil War, draft. World War I, draft. World War II, draft. Korean War, draft. Vietnam War, draft. 2004 Global War on Terror, that close, but we didn't do it because it was a re-election year. Stop loss, that close. So it's like almost every real conflict we've ever fought, there's been a draft. But I do agree with Andy. Right now, in the current climate, recruitment is actually skyrocketing. I don't think there's a need for it or on the immediate horizon at all. And I like the idea of a volunteer force personally, because from what my dad,
I want the military to be very difficult to actually enter. I want the standards to be super high. It's a profession of arms, regardless of the military uniform you are wearing. And you should never forget what the actual core competency of the U.S. military is, and that is to fight and win wars. And everything has to be reverse engineered from that.
Yeah. And, from my dad telling me Green Beret in Vietnam, what he said was draftees, for the most part, very little value added, so really are you getting that much out of it? Probably not. All right. Joe Saunders, $20. Thank you, brother. I was 9 in 1979 when they took the Tehran embassy. I was 13 when the Marine barracks got hit in 83. I don't care about the government in Tehran. I care about the everyday Iranian people. Just saying. Good for you. I don't. I care about the everyday American people and whatever is best for us. I don't want bad things to happen to them. But as I think Andy brought up a good point, it's not America's job to overthrow your fucking regime anywhere in the world. That's where I'm at now. Rise up and do it your fucking self. You know who did this at one point in 1776? Us motherfuckers. Like, we had to do it ourselves, right? Like, not
like
our
us,
ancestors.
not like you and I, because we're doing like a teleconference right now on the internet. It was people who were like way before us.
But my point is, the countries that have become free and won their own freedom, they did it themselves, right? And I'm not saying it's easy to do, but all right. Hopefully, let me see if I don't want to miss any. Austin Edmondson says, America is great. Y'all are awesome. Andy's sarcasm is always top tier. This is $5. Okay. It says 20,000, but we'll take 5. All right. I think we are pretty close to good here. Make sure I didn't miss any. God, man, you guys are wild. This has been
Is this more than usual, or is this kind of like the normal volume?
No, this has been pretty big. We've been like between 3,000 and 4,000 lives just on my side. So concurrent the entire stream. So this has been a big one. Thank you, everybody. The chats, I can't even keep up with the chat. It's been so wild today, guys. I just saw one right here. My Zulu Whiskey, $10. My super chat keeps disappearing. What's up, guys? Did Clint Emerson go through Green Team? That's a question for Andy, not me.
I do not know. Sorry.
I can't even say her name, brother. Hedon. $5.
Epicuria.
Appreciate you.
Come on.
Epicuria. There you go.
Navy
Well, yeah,
saving the day. No big deal.
Hey, Andy, do you have a master's degree?
No, I barely fucking graduated high school.
Oh, you don't have a bachelor's?
I don't
You gotta
have
have a
a
bachelor's.
second of higher education beyond high school, and I got commissioned as an officer. Put that in your.
So
pipe
there you go,
yourself.
guys. That's the difference between a Navy SEAL and a Green Beret right there. Level of education. I can't even fucking pronounce a word, and the dumbass Navy SEAL is making me look retarded on the show. That's fine. All right. I think we did it. We made it through. All right, guys. Yeah, this has been an awesome episode. Thank you to Andy for coming on. Thank you to everybody that's shown up. I'll try to get Andy to do this again. We'll see if he'll be willing and able. I'm trying to get Andy to start live streaming. So
I'm only doing this when
force
there
him
are
into this
massive
one.
global conflicts with a ceasefire on the line. So, I mean, we got to make it happen.
Yeah. Yeah. So, well, you know, ideally, guys, if it's for the content, the ceasefire gets blown and we like go to World War III, boots on the ground, then me and Andy can jump right on and give an emergency broadcast. And by that, I mean, God, I hope that doesn't happen.
Same
at all.
here.
All right, everybody, we're going to log off from this one. We're going to try to figure out how to end the stream, and we'll catch y'all in the next one.
Where
Thanks
is the
very
stop
much,
button?
everybody? It's, I think, top right. All right, maybe I end it and we'll be good. All right, everybody, thank y'all. If we missed your super chats, we're sorry. We are fucking retarded, and we're doing our best. All right, thanks, everybody. All right.